So I don't have a motorbike kit for 39 years, and then I get two in the same year. Welcome to First Impressions. Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason. It's First Impressions Day today, and we're looking at this. It's the Honda RC166 GP Racer, which is quite a famous bike. It's from Tamiya, and it's 1/12 scale. And we're going to have a deep dive into this today and see what we get in the box. So this particular kit is the 2013 re-release of the original 2009 tooling. There was some new parts in there, so they must have improved something in that time. So the box has got a nice picture on the front of the bike. I'm guessing it's the completed model. So yeah, and it tells us that it's the 1966 World Championship winner, 1/12 scale motorcycle series, a premium model. When we look on the ends, they pretty much tell us exactly the same thing, but we've got a kit number there of 141135200. So yeah, and then we look on this side, and we've got some items that you can get from the Detail Up series, although I have to say I have looked for these and I can't find them anywhere, so they seem to be out of production and nobody appears to have them, which is a real shame, because I would have liked to have looked at the wheels and the chain at the very least. And then on this side we've got some images of the bike, including some images with the little cowling off. So that's what it looks like, engine in the frame. Right, let's have a look at the instructions. So we have three documents in the box. We have a tech tips, which basically gives you some comments on how to go about building the model. So yeah, all quite nice. Then we have the instruction manual, and we have our decal points, a little bit of history, and some photographs of the actual bike itself, which I'm guessing is the bike they've used for the box art. Okay, let's take a look at the instructions. So on the front we've got the image of the bike again. Then we've got our recommended tools, all Tamiya of course. Then we've got our paints, not a huge list of paints, but we've got TS range, the X range and the XF range all involved in there. And then when we open up, we've got some conversation about materials and bits and pieces like that, and tools, and then it says this mark DP. This mark indicates instructions for detailing parts separately available. So they've included in here the instructions for detail parts, which at this point I just can't get hold of, which is, you know, that might change in the future. We might wait, see if we can get hold of them, and over time, and then build it when we've got them all. There's three different lots of sets that I'm interested in: the wheel set, the metal chain set, and the rivet set. Not quite so much interested in the front fork set, but if we do spot it, we'll probably pick it up. Okay, so we're starting with the construction of the cylinders. So we can see That being built up, it looks like 4 in a row to me, or is it 6? Could be 6. Yeah, could be 6. And then we're putting all that together. We've got paint instructions as we go. So yeah, and then there is some parts in here we're not cementing. Not quite sure why, but anyway. Then we continue with building up the engine in part 2. So there's the part that we've just built, and that's been slotted in, and then we're adding all sorts of other bits and pieces to it. That continues in step 3. Quite a busy little engine, isn't it? Then in step 4, we're finishing that off, and then we've got some cables to put on. So it says attaching carburetor, and then it says vinyl tubing cut to the required length. So they list the lengths there, give them assign them a letter, or in this case the shorter one several letters, and then show you where they get attached. So that's very nice. And then we've got a DP in a couple of places. Okay, interesting. Which you still have to paint. So step 5, we're building up the frame, and that looks a really complex instruction because it's line drawing, and then you've got the arrows everywhere. It's not easy to read that. Yeah, that could be done better. They could show you these sections going into one half, and then show that in a second picture going on, so it would be a lot less busy. Yeah. Okay, and we've got a sub-assembly there. Then we're putting all sorts of other pieces into the tube. I guess that's because this bit's going to be mounted on those, so they've put flats on them. We have some screws going in as well. Step 6, and we're adding the engine in. Step 7, and we're building wheels, but these are the aftermarket wheels down here, and these are the ones included in the kit, I think, and it says remove plating from areas to be cemented before detaching the parts from the sprue. Okay, so right, okay, I'm not sure if all of that is actually the upgrade set. Yeah, could be that you're just building that upgrade set now if you need to. Then we're building up the rear brake drum, and then we're doing the chain. Right, and then wheels, back wheel and chain being assembled, put into its tyre. Yeah, and then in step 10 we're putting suspension in, again mechanical fixings for that, which is nice if they're to scale, of course. Then we've got some more vinyl tubing, which is being which you need to cut to length again, but it doesn't show you where it terminates. So it's showing you where it's going from, but not where it terminates. These instructions are not very clear. I mean, I don't know whether that's the actual wheels or not. We'll get a better look when we see. Yeah. Step 11, we've got the exhausts being built up. Step 12, mounting those on. Again, another mechanical fastener. Step 13, and we're building up the handlebar section. So several pieces involved in there. So we've got the brake trigger separate. We've got the actual handle being 2-part. Lots of little painting instructions, which is great. Then we're assembling it all together. Then I can see some of the tubing here, and they're giving us the letters. So we've now got termination points for some of this tubing, which they're showing you after this is fitted. So this needs to be fitted first because it's going around the front. Okay. Then step 14. We've got the speedo dial going on there. Some other bits and pieces. Speedo dial's built up from several parts, including a decal. Then we've got front wheel instructions, and again it's not clear to me whether that's all aftermarket or not. Yeah. Then we've got front forks being built up, mudguard going on, brakes, the actual suspension, building up the brake pads. They're quite involved. Quite an involved little build, actually. Step 17, we've got the cowl. So that's the main part of the cowl. Then we've got the clear part going in. All sorts of bits and pieces that it's saying put on with super glue. But I think those are metallized decals. Then we've got fuel filler lid and another insert. Bringing the fuel tank together, and then we're building the seat, plus its little cowling there. Mounting on the front cowl. Again, we've got some mechanical fasteners for that. Step 19, we're putting some structure into the cowl there. Lots of different colours of painting required to get that done. A couple of magnets being glued in. It is quite involved. Then in step 20, more magnets. We're building up the stand for it. More vinyl tubing. Again, it's not showing the termination point. Oh, there it is. It shows you on the next step. We've got some form of little harness clip, a tether for the back of the fuel tank. I guess that's some form of quick release. Yeah, and that is us done. 21 steps, but quite involved. We've got a combination of metal fasteners, vinyl tubing. There's a lot of super gluing. These aren't the clearest instructions I've seen from Tamiya, I've got to say. But let's have a look at what else we've got. Okay, decals. We've got several decals, some of them that have to be built on top of the others. We've got different numbers. So I'm not quite sure why that is, because I've only seen in the paint instructions the 1 and the 6. And it does show one with a 7 on there. But there's no instructions for other numbers, so why they've done that I don't know. There's no explanation. Yeah, that's pretty poor again. But they're the usual Tamiya offering. They're very nicely done. There's margin around all of them, but not excessive amounts. Biggest issue is probably going to be the decal film margin around that dial. I think if you can punch that out, that would be ideal and get that excess film off. But they are really chunky. I mean, they're not going to look painted on with the best will in the world. Yeah, which is, you know, it's a shame. I don't know why they don't look at improving the decals, because everyone complains about how thick they are. But yeah, they're really chunky. I mean, they must be, what, 1/4 millimetre thick or something, these. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what we do with some of these, because the instructions, you know, they're showing us that one, although the colour looks very different, doesn't it? And it's showing us this one, or is it that one? Yeah, that one, I think, on each side. That goes on the front, they barely show it. And you've got the 16, the 1 and the 6, and then the 16 in black. I mean, does it just, is that on both sides? So the black one goes on the front, and then we've got a 16 for one side, and I'm guessing on this side we've got this little air vent, so you've got separate ones on this side. But I've no idea what we're doing with the ones, the eyes, the 7s or the 8s. So yeah, that's a little weird. And we've got a green one to go on the front, but they're just not telling us what to do with those, or why that is. We can see an image of it here. So I guess you can do a number 7 or a number 8. I mean, there's an image of it there with a 7, so I guess it's swap out numbers, but it's not clear to me why that is. Obviously, I've not read everything, so it might become clear when I read it. Oh, it's not clear in the instructions, and that's poor. You really should have, like you normally have, is something that says, right, option A, and it's this number, and what, when and where. So yeah, it does say number 16, Mike Halewood, and number 8, Stuart Grantham, 1966. So did they both win? I don't know. I'm assuming 16 is the one that won, because that's the one they're promoting. Actually, when you look closely at the decal instructions, it does give you options. So you can use number 8 or number 16, and it tells you who they are. They both seem to have been in the race the same year. I don't know who the winner was, but I'm assuming as they're promoting 16, it was Mike Halewood, number 16. And then it says extra markings can be used to depict bikes from different races. Refer to available reference sources. So they've given you a number 8 as well, but they've not told you who that is or what that is. It's a little poor. It's not clear. I would have preferred them to have done that in a different way. And I know it's nitpicking, but yeah, that's the decals. In addition, we have these little metalized decals. I mean, they're almost, they're like 3D printed ones, so whether they are, I don't know. But yeah, so you have to glue those on with a bit of super glue. They're very small dots. So they're going to depict rivet heads, I would think. And then we've got photo etch included. So a small amount of photo etch included for some areas. So some of the stuff that I thought was metalized decals might actually be photo etch. And we've got the little vents there, and that's the strap that we saw on the fuel tank. I don't remember what they are. And then we've got a little plate with RC166 on. So nicely done, nickel photo etch. Then we have a bag of goodies. Let's take that out, see what we've got in there. So we've got one of the old style Tamiya screwdrivers. They now come with a longer handle and a swivel top. But yeah, that takes me back. I think I've still got some of those in my little pot of screwdrivers. We've got the tyres, so let's look at those. So we've got sidewall writing on there. So it says Dunlop Racing, and then size numbers. Yeah, they look quite nice actually. They're not bad. We don't have a seam to clean up on them. In fact, the centre point is recessed, so they're very nicely done rubber tyres then. No issues with those. As I look at it side on, I can see a little bit of fluffiness in places, so we are going to have to go around with a sanding board and just take that off. But that will give you a slightly used look anyway, which is good. Yeah, no issues with that. That's the back one. Clearly it's a little bit thicker. The front one, that looks to be a bit sharper in its moulding. Definitely sharper writing on the sidewall there. Yeah, nothing wrong with those. Very nice tyres. Then we've got, I hadn't picked this up in the instructions, but we've got two lots of vinyl tubing. We've got the black one, which I was sort of anticipating, and we've got some clear one as well, which I'm guessing is fuel line. So yeah, maybe the two colours of tape, red and green, differentiate them in the instructions. Then we've got some micro polycaps, quite a few of those. Then we've got all sorts of things. So we've got a bag with 4 magnets in. We've got a bag with springs, a larger polycap, some metal tubes and rods, some of which are machined, so that's quite nice. Then we've got a bag which has all the different mechanical fasteners in, some nuts as well. We've got silver fasteners, black fasteners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different lengths by the looks of it. Yeah, all very nice and well done. Something that Tamiya always does very well, actually, this. So next out of the box is our front cowling, and as always these are stapled bags, which I personally don't like. I have it in my mind that I'm more likely to see damage of the kit with staples, but I don't think I've ever had any damage from staples, so there you go, maybe just in my head. So we have a single piece cowl. It's really nicely moulded. Now I thought we had a vent on just one side because of the way the decals were, but no. So again, that's a problem with the instructions, because the instructions are only showing you one side for your decal placement and 2 different decals, and now I don't know which way to put them. Yeah, I'm not impressed with that. But this is very nice. There's a bit of flash on it, but nothing we can't sort out. There is moulding seam here at the front, both sides. The camera's picking that up. And I have a little blemish on there and a little blemish on there. Another moulding seam here. I'm guessing this has been slide moulded to achieve this. So even though it's nice and shiny and what have you, we are going to have to do a bit of sanding and polishing. The seam going around here as well. So yeah, it needs a little bit of work. So a little bit of sanding work and then polish it up. Then what you're going to have to do is prime it, sand back the priming, make it super smooth. Maybe prime it again depending on how heavy you've had to sand it, and smooth that off, then put your colour on, and you might be building that up over several layers, doing some polishing in between, so using very fine grits to get this really smooth and shiny. So quite an involved painting process, the sort of painting process that I'd employ on doing a car for this. It's not going to be dead difficult, but it'll be a little bit more. We've got things going in this area, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult on these areas here. But yeah, it's doable. Yeah, and that's a nicely moulded part, so no issues with that. Next, we've got the clear part of the sprue, and it's lovely and clear. Let's just have a look at distortion. I'm expecting distortion because of the shape, but there really isn't. That is very nicely done. There's a little bit around the edge there. No, that is lovely. That is really nicely done. I don't see any imperfections on it. It's very crisply moulded. You've got a couple of ejector pin tabs there to remove, and then a sprue gate tab here to remove, but they're all on the mating parts that are going to be hidden anyway, so nip those off as closely as you can so that you don't have to do any sanding, and you should be good with that. That is nice. It's also, look how thin it is. That is very nice. Yeah, that is lovely. Okay, this is sprue C, and it's the black parts. So we've got, oh, it's also sprue B. I hadn't noticed that. So there's B and C all attached together. So we've got the framework here for the bike, which is nicely done. It's got some hex head bolts on. So all that is very nice. We've got the parts for the stand there. I can see all sorts of other little bits and pieces that don't immediately tell me what they are. It looks, there's something about it that looks a little bit off. I don't know whether it's just that it's black, but I think, so I don't know whether that is zinc or whether it's just excellent moulding to show you the distortion of the metal as it's bent. I'm going to go with the latter because it doesn't really look like zinc, although it's quite a thick bit of plastic, so it could be. Yeah. Back mud guard, we've got sprue gates on the surfaces, but it is a fairly old kit. It's probably before people started putting them on the inside. The exhausts, we've got a nice little lip on there where there should be, so that's very nice, lovely and crisp. Yeah, I don't see any immediate issues with any of that. If we look on the other side, it's fairly clear that most of the ejector pins are going to be hidden, but you'll have to look at that during construction. So if you look at the framework for the stand, you've got little ejector pins there, but that's where it comes together. So they'll be hidden, and then we've put the other ones on the sprue gate itself. Yeah, no issues with that. Lovely. So these two sprues are in the bag together, and this is something I've never seen before. The two sprues are connected, and they appear to be, there you go, there's a pin going into a hole, so they're stacked together. Now I've said a few times now that, you know, the way to go for getting rid of plastic bags is to stack the sprues so that they connect in the corners and all stack up in the box, and then the box fits the sprues and it doesn't move. I've said that for a while, but I've never seen it done. No, I tell a lie. Flyhook do it with some of their sprues, but they're sort of shaped so they can stack, but they're not fixed. These fix together, and I think that's brilliant. So it stopped these parts from getting damaged. That's real thought. Let's take them apart so we can look at the actual parts though. So the instructions for the wheels, I think, are very woolly, not intuitive. Oh, they're repinning themselves. Hold on, put my hand in between. There we go. So what have we got? We've got 2 sprue Fs, so they're both the same. And we've got these. I mean, these are really good spokes. I'm not sure why you'd need to replace those, to be honest. Yeah, there's no noticeable seam on them. Wow. You put that together, you're going to have a very nice spoked effect. And then we've got these outer rims which are going to sit on there and give you that outer rim. The connection points, all the sprue gates, are on parts that are going to be covered, so that's nice. It's a little bit rough around the edges, so whether that's going to damage the chrome when we put it together, I'm not sure. And then we've got these little chrome covers for the other side. I mean, we've got 2 sets of these, so all of these parts must be used in each wheel. So it should be a really nice looking assembly when done. I mean, I've not seen chromed parts so well chromed before. Usually it's all thick and chunky and it smothers the detail, but that's not the case here. We do have ejector pins, which we're going to have to sand off, but these are faces that you'll be gluing, so you're going to have to do that anyway, and the instructions did tell you to scrape away the chrome where it is going to be glued, so probably a fair amount of cleanup on these, but very nice, really nice. Sprue J has sort of rubberized plastic. It says, what does it say, TPE on the back. I'm not quite sure what that is. I hadn't appreciated from the instructions that it would be slightly rubberized, but it does have the things on that you'd expect, like the seat, and these are the handle grips, which are really nicely done actually. And then we've got some hoses. You're going to have to paint these up because you've got metal connecting points and stuff that will need to be painted in. And then these are the little sections we saw going on the frame. So again, hadn't appreciated they'd be slightly rubberized, and that will be to allow the fuel tank and what have you to sit comfortably on there. I'm guessing there was something like that on the actual bike to stop metal on metal rubbing when it's full of fuel. So yeah, very nice, nicely detailed. Love it. Sprue D is metallic in colour. Let's just have a look, and it's actually ABS, the material, rather than your usual polystyrene. Very nice. I mean, these are all sort of engine orientated parts, but we've got the chain there, and you can buy an aftermarket metal chain. Well, there is nothing wrong with that. That is proper nice. We've got some slide moulding, which is doing these openings on the ends there. So you've got, looks like the suspension parts, doesn't it? I think, yeah. And parts for the steering and parts for the wheel, brakes and bits and pieces, all sorts of little bits and bobs, connecting rods and some pinions and bits and pieces. The moulding is really nice. It's nice and crisp. The detail is stunning. I mean, the cleanup is minimal. There's no seam to clean up on the teeth, on the sprockets there, so that's really nice. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And then we've got the little brake handles there. which are nicely formed. Again, a little bit of seam, but nothing major. I mean, it's just beautiful. Really nice. Sprue E now, and another metallic one. This time not ABS, it's polystyrene. You can see the PS there. They use ABS for strength. Quite often Tamiya put that, use that for the masts and very thin items on their newer model ships. So this is pretty much all engine stuff, I'm fairly sure. So yeah, bits that we recognise from early in the instructions there, all really nicely done. The detail level is exceptional. It's just a very nice kit, this. No flash, no moulding defects, no sink. It's just cracking. Yeah, this is real. I am glad that I got talked into putting this on my wish list. Mr. Oxley, thank you very much. That is a nice sprue of parts. Our final sprue, and we're back to the white that we started off with. And again, these are parts. We've got the two parts for the fuel tank. We've got the back end of the bike there where the seat goes. So these are all parts that are going to be high shine paint. So yeah, very nice. I hadn't really realised that the mudguard here was two parts, so that's interesting. That's going to have to fit nicely. Fuel tank, yeah, looks really lovely. We've got seam running that way. You can see where the sprue gate is. You can see there's a seam there, so there is some clean up to do. So the same process that we'll have to do on the other parts that we've looked at. Lots of sanding, priming, sanding. Yeah, very nice. And that looks very much like a tool to hold the metal nuts while you screw into them. So can you see the hexagonal head there? So I think you hold that bit, holds the bolt in while you screw into it. They just think of every little detail, don't they, Tamiya? Yeah, that is lovely. Right, have a look at some close-up pictures and then we'll sum up. Well, there you have it, the Honda GP Racer RC166 from the 1966 championships. What's my first impressions? Okay, well, let's do this by the numbers first. Packaging, yeah, all good. Everything was in individual bags. Box is a little flimsy, but it's okay. Just be careful if you're putting it in long-term stash. Then let's get to the instructions. Instructions, probably the weak point of the kit, if there is one. For me, they're a little bit cluttered and busy, but I can say that about Tamiya instructions for a number of kits. I think that's not uncommon. You have to study the instructions to understand what's going on. It's all in there, it's all written down and explains it, but I would say that I would argue that in some places the instructions aren't intuitive, which ultimately is what you're sort of trying to get to, and they could have broken down some of the build process to make it clearer and easier to read. And I think with the painting and decal instructions, they could have laid that out better and made that a bit more obvious. We've got 3 sets of numbers. They talk about 2 different bikes, and that's it. So a little bit lackluster in places, but will it get you from A to B with a completed model? Absolutely. It's just a matter of paying close attention and studying in it and taking it in. So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the instructions. It's not like they don't work or there's things missing or anything like that, but they could be a little bit clearer because it is quite a complex little build, to be honest. Then we get to the parts. So we've got all sorts of metal fasteners, we've got all sorts of flexible hoses and cables and things, and they all look really, really nice. I think Tamiya do that sort of multimedia type of plastic kit better than anyone else. So yeah, even if you're not putting the aftermarket on and you're not putting the metal wheels on and you're not putting the metal chain on, you've still got a very, very nice kit to build here. Then we've got decals. They're typical Tamiya decals. They're a bit thick, a bit chunky. You're going to have to work on them. But at the end of the day, they will go down and do the job. Probably the trickiest area is this area here because of the domed shape of it. So how well that goes down, we will see. But yeah, otherwise, all good on that front. The plastic parts themselves, absolutely beautiful. Really nicely crafted. Very, very nice. Just no issues with it at all. I think it's a well thought through model, and yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to building this. I'm really glad this ended up on my birthday wish list because friend of the channel, Peter Oxley, has built this on his channel, and I said, well, I wasn't really into motorbikes. He said, yeah, but you've got to build this one, you've got to try this one. So I think he's done it with all the added extras. I can't get hold of them. I've managed to get hold of a rivet set which does rivets in certain places, I think along the seat and along the canopy there. But that's all I've been able to source. I cannot find anything else anywhere. Now, I'm not especially fussed about the forks. If I find it, I'll get it. But I would like the metal rims and the chain. So this will probably sit in the stash for a little while on the off chance that Tamiya produce more of those and they get into the market, in which case I'll be grabbing hold of them. But it's not one I'm going to want to hang on to for a long time before I get building it, because it is proper nice. So there you go. If you ever wondered what was in there or you fancied the kit, you now know what's in there. I hope that was helpful or interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It helps the channel so much. It's free to hit like, just like my video is free for you to watch. So thanks for looking in. Until I see you next time, you enjoy your modelling. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.